Welcome back. Well, the Prime Minister, Helen Clark, joins us now. Prime Minister, look, we can't ignore the election. Does this put you back in the hunt?
Well, it's a $10.6 billion tax package, and that's a considerable one, and probably more than commentators were expecting. And having listened to the family, Mel and Julian, with the three children, it's clear that the $45 for them on the 1st of October, that means a lot, and I'm pleased for them.
But if it's so big, is this about relief, or is this just an election bribe?
No, the families have to have relief, and it's clear from that package that for Mel and Julian, working for families the last 2 to 3 years has been a lifesaver. We've been able to build on that.
But then if they need relief, why has it been so long in coming, and why don't you give them the full whack now?
Well, they've had working for families, of course, for some time, and that's been very important, and we built that up after the last election. But, of course, our last 8 budgets have also been building up healthcare, education, policing. I won't go through the long list, but right now it is important, given that the food price hikes have come on us pretty suddenly. The petrol price in the last year is up 20.5% on top of a lot of rises, and of course mortgage pain, which Mel and Julian referred to. So right now we have brought what would have been a 1 April cut forward to 1 October.
But is there a credibility gap for Labour in proposing the tax cuts almost at the last gasp? That's what people are saying, look, if you believed in them so much, why couldn't we have that relief earlier?
Well, it's not true that it's the last thing we've done in 9 years. Working for families was a huge investment in tax cuts for families, and that's been going for several years now. If you add up, Mark, all the tax cuts we've already delivered before this budget, tax cuts for families, tax cuts for business to get growth and jobs, and we've been very successful at getting growth and jobs, and also for people saving for super. We're looking at a $4.6 billion per annum going out in those cuts a year by 2012. Now, add to this package, that's very substantial.
But if you're sitting at home and you're complaining about the price of cheese and the price of petrol, and again, like families that say getting the working for families may welcome this. If you're single, you're only getting $16 a week. That's not going to do. That's not going to be a vote winner for you, is it?
Well, what Working for Families does, Mark, is really take our tax system in a way back to where it was when you and I were kids, and Mum and Dad got a tax rate that reflected the number of children they had. The truth is that Mel and Julian, on their income, have a lot more responsibilities to meet than a single person on that income. That's why it's important that there is family tax relief.
So is this about looking after your core?
Well, I think it's critical for us to look after families bringing up children. It's absolutely critical. Every earner gets a tax cut. The superannuitants get a tax cut as well. They'll be pleased about that.
Because things haven't been great for you. I mean, let's face it, lately. I mean, you look at some of the polls have been shocking. We had the Marianne Thompson affair, even the Phil Goff gaffe the other day. I mean, you know, and maybe there's that fatigue factor. You know, people say, oh, we're sick of this. You hear this all the time anecdotally. How do you counter that? Is this going to turn it round? Is this going to revive Labour?
Mark, Kiwis have got a choice later this year, and they're going to compare 2 packages. And we're talking packages. We're not just talking one dimension of tax cut. We're looking at the overall. Who's looked after the health system? Who's looked after education? Who's looked after the pensioners? People are going to have to weigh it up. And I guess the best advice I can give is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. OK, the tax cuts come in October, 1st of October. I presume you're going to want to wait for as long as possible for people to get that money in their pockets before you go to the polls? Well, generally Kiwis are accustomed to our elections being at the end of the year, so no one would be surprised about that.
But we're looking November, aren't we?
Well, I haven't set the date.
But you'd want a bit of time for it to bed in?
Well, I think people are used to you going the whole term, and that takes you towards the end of the year.
Okay, Prime Minister, thanks for your time tonight. Well, back to the Thorburns. What did you make of that, Mel and Julian?
Yeah, that's all good stuff, and it's, I guess, what I expected to hear from the government. And it's very true that with the Working for Families over the last few years has been a huge thing for us and helped us to survive where we are and owning a home, what have you. It's hard to, I guess, see too far into the future and thinking about waiting until 2011 for that full amount still seems a long way off.
So you'd want to see a commitment from National that Working for Families and all those things stay in?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
That would be, you know, paramount.
Yeah. I mean, the $45 is great now, but we've got to wait and see what happens with, you know, the likes of petrol and food. And I mean, with our mortgage coming up August 08, the large chunk, you know, it's definitely going to help, but, you know, we've got to be convinced, and we'll assess it a bit later.
All right, so your vote's still up for grabs. All right.